CAU alumni, one time for Clark Atlanta University. Can't forget about Spelman Morehouse. The defunct Morris Brown. How you doing, Mr. Barris?
KB, the other KB, the B.
You there?
The real KB. What's up, KB? Yeah, what up? Can you hear me?
How are you, KB?
What up, dog?
How you doing?
Kenny Bird.
What's
Good,
happening?
man. Chilling, man.
I was just talking about HBCUs slightly, giving you your Clark Atlanta University crew. They know what to do. I used to hang at Clark every day, but I went to Morris Brown. People think I went to Clark, or they think I went to Morehouse because of
I
Leo
thought you
and
went
Shake.
to Morehouse.
Yeah, because of Leo and Shake. They went to Morehouse.
Yeah.
But I had so-so grades coming from D.C. and then all the things I was into. Morris Brown was the only one that accepted me.
Mo B. Oh, my God. That's crazy.
What class are you, Kay?
I graduated in 92. I came out 96? 96?
Wow. That was a hell of a time in the AUC, my brother.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. It's so crazy because that year, it was like something was in the water. It was like Howard had the class before us that was kind of crazy, right?
We're puffing all them, yeah.
We're puffed, but like we had a crazy. It was me, you, like who was around there was Jaha, Shake, Leo, Wendell was around at that time. Greg with the rim shop.
Yeah.
Fucking Nicky's was blowing up. Magic City was blowing up.
Gentlemen's Club
was blowing up. Fucking Fred Tokars was getting it off the boat.
Yeah. Hey, dog. And so, what's your wildest story? Like we were in school when Freaknik was really a thing. What is your wildest story from Clark Atlanta?
I remember one Freaknik weekend at the Phoenix. Remember the Phoenix?
You know I do. We made it famous.
To be honest, you might have been on the mic.
Yeah.
You might have been on the mic. It was EPMD was performing at the Phoenix. I got so fucked up. I told I was shaking them. I was like, I gotta go to the car. I went to the car, and don't ask me why, because we was in college, but I had a pistol, and I fell asleep in the car with the pistol on my lap, and Shake came and knocked on my window, and I fucking sleep drunk, banged the window out with the pistol, knocked the window out with the pistol, and was like, "Oh, I might need to go back to LA. I've lost myself."
Well, you know, back in those days, KB, you could buy a gun at what is equivalent to Target. Like you could buy a gun anywhere. All you had to do was be 18.
Yeah.
And
legally.
I'll never forget when I first came to Morehouse. Shakir was when I came to visit Freaknik 92. I came to visit Leo because he kept telling me about Freaknik. You gotta come to Freaknik. You gotta come. I'm like, what the fuck is a Freaknik? He's like, trust me. So I come down. First person I meet is Shake. And then I'm saying, everybody got guns. Like, I'm like, y'all go to Morehouse. Like, what are you doing with pistols? Like, this is not what you're, you know what I'm saying? And they're all straight A students, A and B students, by the way. So, but Atlanta was wild back then. The access was plentiful, to say the least.
It was crazy. We were adults. You know what I'm saying? And for kids, I mean, the life we lived, the stuff that we did, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could, a little twist, a little turn here. I was in Art Center Towers, like, which is equivalent of like a high rise.
Yeah.
High rent LA. You know what I'm saying? High rent, you know, big cities.
Yeah.
I told my mom this is what rent costs. This is bad. You know what I'm saying? Like literally, we were in a high rise, doing a little bit of too much. You know what I'm saying? But you know, living the life of athletes or you know, like around in college.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And everything was so brand new. You know what I'm saying? Like, me and Shake kicked off Freaknik, right? That was the weekend. That was the California club.
Yeah.
Weekend before Freaknik. When Freaknik went down, Freaknik became the new Freaknik.
Yeah.
I
remember
California,
one time for California, because California was so deep in the AUC. Like, it was California, I feel like LA, Oakland. Then you had like your Detroit. Then you had your Washington, D.C. And then you had like the other southern cities like Miami and so forth and so on.
It was crazy because I went to Howard, and I had never seen. DC was the standard for me because DC popped it off before everybody else. Howard was like those were grown women. Girls had on fur coats on the yard.
Right.
They had the shortcuts. They knew how to, you know what I'm saying? They were all
Right.
together. You know what I'm saying? I had never seen nothing like that before. And then all of a sudden you saw, we kind of, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all came from DC, kind of came with like, I had never seen like people rocking Timbs with shorts and, you know what I'm saying?
That was some New York shit.
That was some New York shit. And then, you know what I'm saying? The notion of like, we came and like, we had on, the other day I was walking around in some khaki shorts and like, somebody was like, those are dope shorts. I'm like, these are fucking Dickie shorts. What are you talking about? But it was like the notion, it was that was the great thing about the AUC is that we got to like really see the blend.
Yeah.
I got a little bit of culture from y'all in that DC, Baltimore, Maryland, tri-state. I got the New York shit. I got some Southern shit from Atlanta real quick. LA and Oakland hooked up. And Oakland's way different than LA, but out there it was all West Coast, but Oakland's way different. But it was like a time I had never seen before.
Yeah, I always tell people, man, that era, and I'm so glad you mentioned like the Howard era because growing up, I'm from DC, so when you see Puff and them doing these parties and you see all this glamour, it was glamour. Like not only did you have the Cosby Show on television, A Different World, like these things were really happening. Yeah. But then you could see it like down the street, and it's like, oh wow, all the Howard girls dating the DC drug dealers, and you had all this energy. And so when we came to Atlanta, it was like fish out of water. It was like really make your own way. Like you could be the hottest promoter on campus, which we became. You could be the superstar athlete because black colleges were the shit. You know what I'm saying? You could be different things you wanted to be. And I feel like the party culture for Atlanta really started those years we were, dominating the colleges. Like we brought the city.
Nobody has seen it, y'all. With the way you knew how to party. DC knew how to party in a way because they understood the college vibe different than New York didn't have a college vibe. DC had a little bit of that New York vibe with the college vibe, with the streets. Y'all had, what was EU and all that? What was that called?
Yeah, the butt, red, Essence, EU, all that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what was that kind of music called?
Go-go.
Go-go. Y'all had go-go. We had never seen that before. Y'all used to have those. What were the parties that they used to throw? It was a type of party. No, it was go-go. I know it was a go-go, but it was a name for it. It was a fucking name for the type of. I can't think of. Anyway, that was a different thing, but Atlanta was a different thing for all of us. Strip club culture and all that shit hadn't started yet.
Facts.
That wasn't nationwide. That was like a really, you know what I'm saying? It used to be, now dudes are like, I go to a strip club in Atlanta, it's like, it's more girls in the strip club than regular girls and regular guys. That's the club. It used to be like that was a different, kind of thing, but it was starting to become, this is pre-BMF, this is pre-Jeezy, this is pre all that, you know what I'm saying? We were in a really interesting.
I think you're covering the mic. I think you're covering your mic.
Sorry, we were in a really interesting and I think lucky time because we were at a place. It was like being in New York in the '80s if you wanted to be in art.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? When Keith Haring and Basquiat and all these Kenny Sharp and all these people were coming up, we were in Atlanta. That's why you're still in Atlanta now. You know what I'm saying? Like you could be anywhere in the world, but like you got to be in a place where you were a founding father of something special.
Yeah, brother, I appreciate that. And speaking of founding fathers, man, I want to give you your flowers. This all really started for you in 2003 with America's Next Top Model. We knew because we were your homies, and it was like, yo, one of us made it. Like every time somebody made it, it was like, yeah, like it was super hype. And it had such a run. Like people don't really realize how long of a run American Next Top Model had.
Yeah. 20
that was 2003,
cycles.
Right?
25 cycles, which is half 2 cycles a season. It was, but to be fair, the coming out of Atlanta, like the first one, like I think you popped first, like you kind of like, you got out, like when Puff was coming out, you knew Puff, you kind of got in the shit first. Shake got on, you know what I'm saying, in terms of like, was there music or whatever. Brian Barber was doing his thing with videos.
Videos, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was lucky in the idea that nobody on the TV side had gotten there, you know what I'm saying, really sunk their teeth in, you know what I'm saying? And
From
me and
our
Tyra,
crew.
from our crew, you know what I'm saying? And Tyra hooked me up, and, you know what I'm saying, and we got to create that show together. And I brought Shake on to do music supervising. If anybody ever looks in the credits on Top Model, Shake is the music supervisor for that shit.
Man, I miss Shake so much. Damn.
I miss Shake too. Shake managed Tyra. I don't even know if people know that. Shake
Oh, he
managed
did?
Tyra. Yeah, he managed Tyra for a little bit.
Wow. How was it
Before,
working with Tyra Banks, bro?
it was dope. I mean, we grew up together, but it was crazy. She was the first really commercially successful, and I always tell her this in a way that she doesn't like to. She was the first Cindy Crawford black model. You know what I'm saying? Like Beverly Pill and Iman and those guys were supermodels, but Tyra was the first commercially, very, very commercially successful supermodel. You know what I'm saying? She was the first woman to ever have the cover of GQ. You know what I'm saying? Black or white. She was the first woman to ever have the cover of GQ. And she had cover of Sports Illustrated as a black supermodel. Like, so it was, you know, I was living in Hollywood Hills at her house, and I was 21 years old, living at that house. And I was like, it was mind blowing. You know what I'm saying? It was mind blowing to sort of be that young in that situation, seeing all that stuff happen. From that point of view, coming from Atlanta, being in that place where I was, you know, a lot of the shit that happens where everybody do is right place, right time.
Facts.
And we've been really blessed to be in the right place at the right time. And right now in Black culture, you know, we're seeing it again.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Some
The
things happen for us.
resurgence.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, I was having a conversation. I'm gonna get into the conversation we had last week, but I was just having a conversation like it's really changing of the guard again. And the people that did right by people, that had, you know, the uplifting kind of spirit when dealing with people, are the people that are now going to be in power. I think, like,
I agree.
for some reason, you know, the generation before us that were, and I mean 4 or 5 years, like imagine we're coming into high school, they're going to college.
Yeah.
That generation they hold everything dear, like they can't create another, like, oh my God, something's going to come and just destroy everything if I give you a manufacturer or if I give you a connect.
It's insane.
And I feel like now, though, and even with the pandemic, having to slow down and assess. Because when you sit back and you assess, you're like, oh, okay, that's how it was really working. Because when you're going, you don't really see all the nuances all the time. But I think you're one of those thought leaders, man. And we're going to get into, I want to know what you feel about that. But you're a thought leader going into this new millennium of sorts of thinking.
Well, I mean, you know, I think we were really lucky because we kept our crew where we can make phone calls. You know what I'm saying? And I think that is not something that, you know, a lot of people did. I look at a lot of people who are on, and I'm like, who's your crew? Who do you look around, and who can you really just make a phone call to? Not because you're a star, but like that really fucks with you. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, that you guys can put money in each other's pockets. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that was, you know, it's crazy because I think the younger generation, you know, there's like 2 generations of, you know, under us.
Yep.
So the idea that like Lena and Melina and Issa and, you know, like they pick up the phone and they like have each other's back. But I saw that generation before us, you know what I'm saying, where it was, you were trying to get crumbs. You know what I'm saying? Like they were giving out crumbs. You know what I'm
Crumbs. They didn't see you. You know,
saying?
and I love that. We're getting to Black as Fuck later, but I love that scene when you had like Will, you had like everybody, you know, everybody on the scene, and you're like having this discussion.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like we really do have those discussions. I feel like, you know,
Yeah.
our support system is real, especially in the people who care and are thoughtful. But for you, man, like going from Top Model, I mean, you jumped from Top Model right into, like, I mean, 2014 with Blackish. Like it wasn't right into, like, that was a gap. That was almost 10 years
I had
of work.
I was lucky. I had, you know, I worked on a lot of good shows. Felicia Henderson, really, who I really give a lot of, you know, credit to whatever happens with me. I'm saying whatever, you know, like I was a PA or writer assistant. She gave me a job, and she gave me a job on Soul Food, which was a big, a drama on Showtime. She taught me how to write, basically, you know what I'm saying? And, she's a teacher at UCLA. And then, Mara Brockett Kill gave me a job on The Game. The Game it changed television, you know what I'm saying? It made the jump from CW to BET. But I got to be in a lot of those moments, you know what I'm saying? And I had, those people help me. And it's interesting. I don't really talk to Felicia like I like to. I still consider her my family. And me and Mara, have different paths, and but I still, remember what they did for me. You know what I'm saying? But I do, even though I may not speak to them, I do feel like what it put into me is I do have a lot of people that I consider like proteges and partners and things like that. It's important for me to sort of keep that crew, the people coming under me, and people who I want them to pass me, and some of them have. Lena is a big example of that. You know what I'm saying?
But I think you do it because you genuinely want to stay in, like, to stay in play. You have to teach what you know. You have to share the information, and I think subconsciously we just do it. It's not even a thought process. Like, I hit Fat Joe this morning, and he was like, "Yo, I love Kenya. Hook me up with him." I'm like, "Absolutely." Today, as soon as I'm on the show, I'm gonna tell him you want to holler at him. It's done.
Chopra,
right? But it's like, if I'm like super paranoid about who's doing interview shows and this, that, and the third, like, that's not who I am, because that's not how Joe was for me. That's not how Andre Harrell was for me. And there are very few, by the way, that were giving and not wanted something or saw my superpower and I didn't and used me for it. But, I think that's innately in us, because we were the victims of not getting the hand up. Like, oh, you got it, you're dope. You know what I'm saying? We're going to give you this $100 million 10 years ago versus now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Because all it really does is empower us, if I'm going to be honest with you. The notion of you hooking me up with somebody and me hooking you up with someone, I don't know where the notion of, like, it seems like that takes away anything from me. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because the truth of the matter is, you fucking turn some silver to gold. You know what I'm saying? You're going to make sure that when my turn comes up, because there's going to be a moment I come up, you're going to remember that, and you're going to it makes it wider. And I look at so many of us, especially older generation or whatever, and I'm like, where's your crew? I told you I was talking about that fucking Jay movie, or Dame and Jay, or whatever, the show, or one of those things, and Dame came in and he was talking to Clue, and he was like, man, your crew is showed. It was like, they're not eating. You know what I'm saying? And he was like, if you fall off, what is your crew going to do? And I don't know anything. This is not a diss to Clue or anything like that. It just was like that moment stuck out to me.
Right.
The Dame, for whatever he was telling him, like, yo, you got to make sure your crew keeps eating way past you.
Facts. And that's when I got my first $2 million. I moved my entire crew to LA, and we ran amok. We had studios. We were, just entering our relationships. But we were like, but that was what we talked about doing. Our dream was to be in this position to have a label. We went on to sign Dream, the second highest debut for a girl group. Like, we did all this stuff. We did it together. And what people don't realize is, who you surround yourself with will ultimately define how far you go, even if those people aren't in business with you going forward. I think the testament, right? The testament is to, you said you're going to do something, do it. Show everybody that it's possible. And then the real business sets in, and who could really do what. Because when I did it, we was trying to figure it out. You do this, we do this, and we figured it out. But then certain people started making their own bones. Leo went into publishing and wasn't even into music no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, people started making their moves. So my point is, I think at the end of the day, how important is it to, like, know that friends are friends and business is business?
Yeah, it's everything. And I think the hard part about it is, often we forget, and we're like, come on, man, like, I'm saying, like, I'm your boy. It's like, no, man, let's do business. Let's do business. You can be my boy later. Let's do I try to, honestly, when I do business with friends, I try to do better business. And I try to not take the shortcuts that I would take normally in business, because I'm like, I know that this business situation has the difficulty of having a friendship to it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's so, it's like, if it's crazy. Like I used to have my boy used to let me borrow his car.
Right.
I would bring his car back on full. But I know a lot of niggas who bring my car back on empty.
Your
know what I'm saying?
nephews
Yes.
do that shit to me all the time.
But so that's a little bit. That's your family. Well, like I knew like that was important because I wanted to get that car again, and I wanted him to know that I appreciated it. You know what I'm saying? And like the idea of like when you do business with friends, you should do better business. You know what I'm saying? You shouldn't do worse business. You should do better business because you feel like you have the ability. You don't want to fuck that friendship up. And I feel like I have 2 daughters in film school, and I told them this film school thing is only as good as you make it.
Yeah.
And the whole purpose of that shit is so that you can build up a network, your own little network of who's the best editor, who's the best DP, who's a good producer, who's the actors that you see coming up. So when you're out of this film school thing, you have your crew and you can make the calls.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's what we learned, I think Atlanta taught us is like, don't, you know what I'm saying, be careful who you step on the way up because you're going to see them on the way down.
And that's listen to me, bro. That shit right there, that shit is that is a jewel in a gem that people should covet more than anything in business because skill sets are one thing. Talent is one thing. But the relationships, bro, like you will live and die by the way somebody feels about you ultimately. And you know what I'm saying? Like you never know. Like I remember somebody had said, I had a deal or something, and they had said something about, I remember the one time you didn't speak to me at such and such and such, and I'm like, wait, like I speak to everybody. Like, what do you mean? I speak? Like, you know what I'm saying? But people hold on to things because, and before social media, because we were popping clearly before social media was popping. And, when you look at like back in the day, it was legend. Like people had to go run and talk about you. They had to really say, oh, they're in Atlanta doing X, Y, and Z. Oh no, he partnered with the supermodel to do the thing. No, they had to go physically go speak your name. Now, people get it misunderstood that like, okay, you see my pictures, right? Just like you. They see you in black as fuck. And it's finally you, not the characters Anthony Anderson plays. It's not like your stories, it's you. And they're like, does he really dress like that? Does he do that? But they don't know that when you really going into this moment about this black paint and that's really you and you're fucking going crazy in your mind about it. So, but my point is, I think, and we're going to get to that, but I just think it's so important for people to understand the way you treat people. And people often ask me, like, why do you, it's just like you. I called you one day and we talk, but we don't talk like every week, every month even sometime. But when we talk, we're right back at it. And I called you, or you called me about some restaurant, something. You were stopping to Atlanta like a month before Corona.
Where do I go?
But, where'd I go, right? And so I think we had talked a month before that, and I was like, yo, I have these ideas, or 3 months before I have these ideas. He said, Kenny, I want to do whatever you want to do. You just got to tell me the story, make it make sense, But I guess I'm saying all that to say, like, people go around chasing their tail so much and don't really use the relationships and then let other people kind of in the spirit of what I was talking about people saying this person said I didn't speak to them. I don't be knowing, but the way to overcome that is to get at them directly.
Yeah.
And, you know what I'm saying?
Real relationships. I can honestly say I have never, and I mean this, and I there's a lot of things I have done, especially in personal, especially relationships with my wife and things. I've done things that I'm not, I'm saying I have to, ask for forgiveness for this. But I have personally never in business fucked one person over.
Facts. Me either. Ever.
And I have been fucked over several times. And I say that to say, every time I have been fucked over or somebody's done something, I've looked up and I'm like, you're going to need me before I need you. And I'm going to make that my fucking mission. You know what I'm saying? To like literally sit, I did fucking Jesus and Meryl. My thing, like my little rainbow saying was, hustle till your haters ask if you're hiring.
Hello?
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like I pride myself in business. I have never fucked over one person ever. You know what I'm saying? I pay everyone who works with, I work with. I try to, like, if I do business with my friends, I'll pay them more than they should get paid. So that, I can't guarantee it's going to work, but I can
Yeah.
guarantee that I fought for you to get the best wage you could get. I fought for you, you know what I'm saying, whatever the case may be. But I don't think that is, people don't, you're stepping over dollars to get pennies when you fuck over your friends. You know what I'm
Hello?
saying? You may not see it at that moment, and you may think that this is a check right now. I guarantee you it will come back. I guarantee you it's gonna come back and fuck you.
Crazy, bro. I feel like obviously you get the critical acclaim for Blackish, this, that, and the third. And we're gonna get into that in 1 second. But you know, you wrote Girls Trip. I don't think a lot of people know you wrote Girls Trip.
It was I did it with Tracy Oliver, and it was something neither of us saw coming. Will Packer, shout out to another Atlanta native,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, came
yeah,
and that's really Will Packer's wife's story. You know what I'm saying? Like about a trip that she took, and he told us, and I came up with a pitch for it and got Tracy involved in it, and we did not know, and Malcolm Lee did an amazing job in that cast. That was Tiffany put that movie on her back. You know what
yeah.
I'm saying? Jada was
Murdered it.
fire, Queen Latifah was fire, Regina was fire, everybody was fire. Tiffany, people didn't see Tiffany coming. Tiffany put that movie on her back, and we went to the premiere, and we were looking around at Tracy, and I was looking around, and I was like, oh shit. Like, we were like it's crazy when you don't something. It's crazy when you don't know something's going to be what it is, but it broke out. And I remember that weekend, women were going in crews with their
Yeah,
girls to see it and taking pictures. Like, you know, I'm with my crew, and I was like, we show up for each other. Black folks show up for each other. And the thing is, when we show up, we have such power that we get other people to show up.
yeah, man. And I
And
had
it
her on the
felt
show
good.
yesterday. I had her on the show yesterday, giving her those flowers because I just felt like, you know, she had done the
Tiff,
Carmichael show. She had done, yeah, Tiffany was on yesterday, and I mean, she was just, you know, she was so electric on screen. And I had told her, like, you know, obviously, Essence is the Black Mecca experience annually, right? Like you go, you see it felt like mama and them and cousin and auntie and, you know what I'm saying, bro and them, and it just fit. She embodied the conversations, the narratives that me and my friends have went through, things you've
yeah.
seen, things that you know. So I really applauded her and gave her flowers. That was a really super dope movie for her, and that was her
She
I mean, her
is,
launch pad.
she is a natural, like naturally just a star, like a breakout magnet. And she's just like very, you know, I think funny and real, like in a way that you don't get to see with people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like Tiff is like what you get is what you see is what you get.
yeah.
You know, she has a joke. She'll see me and she'll be like, she'll come to me and she'll be like, "Yo, word on the streets is your dick stinks." And I'm like, it's the wildest, dumbest shit that anybody can say. And I won't see her. And it's just like a dumb thing to say. But it's like,
What the fuck?
yo,
Yo, she
word.
said yesterday, she said one of her fantasies were a midget, God bless the real term, and a tall man. She said so the midget could play with her boobs and the tall man. I'm like, what is the tall man doing, Tiff? So she's off the chain. And you co-produced Little, which I love that movie Little. And that little woman is so fabulous. That little girl. What's her name? Marche?
Marseille.
Marseille. She is amazing.
She's been that person since, you know, her parents are amazing and they make stars. But like she's been here before. And she's been that person. She came with that idea on set. And I was on set and her dad called me and he's like, Marseille has an idea. And I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, you know, you're always like, I'm working together and it's weird. And I'm like, all right, she's a little girl. And she's like, well, I want to do a movie. You know, people always say I look like Gabrielle Union.
Right.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, she's like, I want to do a movie. She's like, it's kind of like Big. She's like, but it's for me and it's called Little. And I was like, you can stop talking right.
Yeah. Done.
I was like, the way that I literally hung up. I called Packer. I was like, I'm going to give you this one-liner. And he was like, that's the one thing I swear I will say that I don't know if people who know Will Packer or not. The thing that Packer has the ability to do is, and people can't, he's a get things done person.
Facts.
And that is a very rare quality. Him and James Lopez, who I love too, you know what I'm saying? Like Packer he doesn't just talk it. He can he can get things done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he actually got me my first movie deal with Paramount for that script Fight Night, which
Yeah,
it might not be happening, so I might be bringing it to you.
there it is.
But I want to say Regina Hall,
Oh,
bro. Like, yo, I don't know, bro. Like, Kevin Hart was on the show, and I had the conversation, man. I was just like, when are you and her getting back together on screen?
arguably, to be honest with you, and I've worked with all of them, and I think they all, like, I think Tracy is special. I think Rashida is fun. I'm gonna say this about Regina, and it's different than Rashida because Rashida does so much. You know what I'm saying,
Yeah.
about including writing and directing. So I think she has an edge. And so, but I arguably Regina is the funniest person in Hollywood.
Yo, she is hilarious, bro. Did you see the skit on
Her
the
and
fucking
Kevin.
BET shit? I'm like, and she's so, and on top of it, she's so dope. Like, she's dope. Like, she's the coolest. Like, it's no stress. She can be
Ageless,
serious.
doesn't age. You know what I'm saying? The same person.
Like your brother.
Like you, Pharrell, and Regina Hall. That's the golden trio. That whatever y'all are drinking, we need to fucking y'all need to come up with a fucking water and just sell it out.
I hate to tell you, it's Coke. No, I'm joking. But listen, I want to get into this because Blackish, big, huge, 2014. You come in strong. You know, it's on air today. You've been nominated for every award. You won awards. It is your life. Like, you wrote Blackish, you know, as your life. You know, I want to say that I give you your flowers because I feel like the time that you came with Blackish, we needed that Cosby of our era. We needed that visual that Black folks was in the game and we were playing at a high level. You know what I'm saying? And we were fathers and mothers, right? And so I applaud you for that, first and foremost. Please, guys, put the applause down there for young Kenya First. Please. I want to see applause in the comments. But I give you your props for that, man. And, you know, how was it? I mean, it was brave to put these are your stories. But how was that? How was that seeing your stories come to life with two amazing leads with Anthony Anderson and Tracy Ellis Ross? Like, how was that, bro?
It was mind blowing. You know, honestly, I always say, like, Lawrence Fishburne, you know, that's my big bro. Like, he made Blackish get on air. Tracy and Anthony made Blackish a hit.
Hello? I didn't know that about Lawrence. What did Lawrence do?
Lawrence was the first person on, and Lawrence was such a big star.
Wow.
Like, you know, that it was, like, they're all my partners, but Lawrence was the first person that was attached to it. And Lawrence going in, they were like, hold on, Lawrence Fishburne wants to do a comedy on ABC? Like, no one had seen Lawrence do comedy before.
Right.
You're saying, like, idea of that, like, it was a big deal. And he and Anthony, we all went and pitched together. They did Pops and Dre in the pitches.
Nice.
They did that sort of banter back and forth. So it was a bidding war for that show. And, like, it felt, and you've been a part of stuff like this, and, you know, sometimes things feel special from the beginning. And it felt special from the beginning. And you keep wondering at what point is that feeling going to trail off? Like, it never trailed off. You know what I'm saying? Like, it felt special all the way to getting it on, to coming on. We had huge ratings. I think in some markets we beat Modern Family. You know what I'm saying? And that had never happened. You know, it felt like it was something that, you know, God really gave me a blessing and let me, you know, be a part of something special. And it changed my life.
That's lightning in a bottle. Can you, like, that doesn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Most people work, they give their all, they do a good job, they provide life for their families, and they ride off in the sunset, you know, just what they have. You hit the holy grail of television shows.
I was really blessed and fortunate. I was.
And the spinoffs. I mean, the Grownish, the Mixedish. I mean, these are all your properties.
Yeah. I was
how was that going? What, you know, the Grownish, I'm in love. I think she's a superstar. Like, what's that like?
I mean, McMogul, I call her McMogul because I knew she was a small mogul. Yara is special, and she was my partner on Grownish, and she, you know, took a leap with me. And I saw one day a meme that said, "Where will Zoe go to college?" And Yara and my actual daughter actually went to we were at the same high school, junior high, at a school called Immaculate Heart, where actually Tyra went and Meghan Markle went to the same school. So it's an interesting sort of, like, lineage there, whatever. But they were friendly, and so Yara, my daughter, that character is based on my daughter Kaylee, and my daughter Kaylee had just gotten to USC Film School, and so I was seeing what my daughter was going through, and I was like seeing that Yara was revving up for what she was going to do, and so we got to I got to play that different part of my life, with Yara and Lucas Sabat, who I think is a superstar, and Trevor Jackson, who I think is a superstar, and Chloe Halle, who are superstars, and and fucking Francia, like who I know is gonna be Jennifer Lopez when it's all said and done, or surpass that, and everybody else, and Emily and Jordan, like I feel like it was this amazing crew of people, and now Diggy, what I'm saying, that came together to make like my bet against that show is that is the most beautiful and talented, but definitely beautiful cast in television history.
Yeah,
like
I would agree, and I would also love how you slid that in there. That is your partner. That is another testament on how you are advancing. The people that you're working with. She clearly is an amazing talent, but you made her a partner on that show. She has some back end, correct?
Yeah, she's a
round
part
of applause. Please put the applause in the thing for Kenya. Round of applause. Shit.
Yeah, she is an owner in that show, and she is, hopefully next year will be an executive producer, and has her own production deal at Disney ABC, and has done features and mini features, and has a lot of different activities in terms of from political to charitable to
she's amazing. She's amazing. So the title, Blackity Black, Black as Fuck. I was trying to just think on how, I called you immediately when I saw the show. I watched the entire.
Thank you for that too. I appreciate it.
All love. I watched the entire thing the first day. Couldn't stop watching it, and I talked to you the day after, and you were telling me about some of the things that were going on, and this, that, and the third. And it was kind of hard for me to believe, right? I want to take this back to high school, and then I'm gonna come right back up to the show. I remember in the 80s when being light-skinned was almost like a war symbol. Like you fought so much to prove how black you were. That's really what it was. You had to really fight, show people that you could throw down. And this is whoever wants to say whatever they want to say, whatever, right? But then I fast forward to Black as Fuck, and what you were telling me the day after, and you're seeing Black Twitter go crazy, like, how is it black as fuck and ain't a whole bunch of black dark-skinned people and this, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, wow, right? Like you've given us masterful projects in Blackish Growers that these are all extensions of your personal story. Then, as a creative, you jump out there, and we like, me seeing you on TV. You know how hype I was to see my partner, who I know is not really the in front of the camera guy, but has the best, biggest brightest personality in the world. To see him on time, so I'm hyped. And then I know you, and I know you go through these mental gymnastic exercises on how black something is, should be, our history. But I'm telling you, bro, I connected with that because that's our lives. We worked our asses off to provide these lives for our children, our family, our friends. And you're telling the story. How did you feel getting that immediately after? Which you clearly read my page today and got a ton of love on top of. But how do you feel about that?
Look, I know it's hard because, the idea of there's the idea of like the casting being not specific, not quote unquote reflective of the black experience. It bothered me because I feel like the cast, and I think, to be fair, a lot of people may have not known, like, it was based on my family. You know what I'm saying? My wife is biracial, as Rashida is, and those kids, I have 3 daughters and 3 sons, look like my kids, who I definitely feel like are definitely black children and have experienced a lot of things throughout their, time that I feel like, that's my black family, I'm saying, in every aspect. So I understood people who may have not known that it was based on my family, their reaction. At the same time, I definitely, they wanted me when I was talking about this to talk about all the different kind of people I've cast and this and that. And I was like, I'm not going to honor this statement with that.
At
because
all.
because I understand, because of my experience and my family, you know what I'm saying, both my family I made and the family I come from, that, you know, people's experiences have shaped and given them different things. And like, you know, colorism is real, you know what I'm saying? And people, you know, absolutely do discriminate. But what I definitely feel is when we come at each other about it, it's a divisive word.
It
You know what I'm
is.
saying? And it's something looking for us. There's enough things from the outside tearing us apart that we don't need things from the inside to tear us apart. And so for me to sort of react, which I wanted to that comment and to those things, I wasn't negating anyone's experiences by not reacting. I just didn't want to fan the fire and give it oxygen because it was so not based in reality. So it, you know, it hurt. You know what I'm saying? I wish I was a person who didn't care about comments or reviews, but I do. I really feel like you can't be fly and not, you know, listen to what the people think. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like I really do. So, you know, it affected me, but I also feel like I was really warmed by the reception that so many people sort of like saw their life and saw themselves in that show. And like, you know, all I wanted to do was pay homage to Blackish and to that world, that way that show changed my life, and do it in a way that, um, you know, made people laugh, and at the same time said this experience was the truest. That's the ass fuck version. It's the
Right.
truest version of the Black experience that I could tell. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
But
And, you
listen,
know,
and don't be apologetic ever,
I'm
because I
not.
feel
I just
like,
want to. I think that
no,
there's an
no.
explanation for people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, but I'm just saying on your not responding, I
Oh,
applaud you
right,
for
right.
that. Because at the end of the day, and let's get to the meat of the show. I love the dynamic of you inside of your head. I
Right.
love the fact that, you know, the black painting, for instance, the sparkle painting.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at this fucking shit, and you know, as you get some money, you want to get into art. And this is my journey too. And you know, I thought art in college was framing a Bob Marley poster, because frames were like art. Like that was like,
Yeah,
you have something framed. It's not a poster pinned on the wall.
that's
So
right.
as you get older, and I'm looking at this scene, and I'm just you trying to tell the story, and then ultimately the story getting kind of like all, and then the guy at the end
Right.
telling the story was
Knowledge Bennett.
so
Real, yeah.
dope, because that's how I think people should look at the show. Because just because it doesn't look like your
That's
neighborhood,
interesting.
right?
Yeah,
Because
that's interesting.
just because you're not in, you know, your surround, it doesn't look like your surrounding, doesn't make it any less black. Like yourself, you didn't come from the richest family and take, you know what I'm saying, cue from your dad who gave you $1 million. Like, you fucking strapped your boots up, used your game, got Tyra Banks to believe in your idea. You strapped on. I mean, not literally. I'm sorry, that sounded super weird. But
Yeah.
you got focused, got you. You know what I'm saying? And then the rest will be history. But I like the nuances of your personality in there, and I think that's very important, because people like you are the thought leaders in Black America. I'm just saying.
Well, I appreciate that. And I think the whole purpose of, you know, like, I'm not an actor, you know what I'm saying? I was lucky enough to be able to be in that because I felt like I wanted to make this. I have Blackish on ABC, and it's based on my family. It's like, people are like, well, it's just like Blackish. I'm like, yeah, that's the curb part of it. The idea of getting behind the comic, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I was lucky enough to sort of be able to tell those stories, but I wanted to do something that made us think. You know what I'm saying? That we don't get a chance to really be subversive and self-reflective and you know, saying abstract. Like, we don't get a chance to sort of, like, that's why I said it was really interesting when you said that about the painting, is depending on who looks at a painting, people see 1,000 different things, you know, and we so often have to do things straight down the middle. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's interesting to see us sort of like not be, quote unquote, the greatest parent. You know what I'm saying? But
Right.
being the greatest that character can be, not, quote unquote, have the right answer. You know what I'm saying? I think it's important for us to see different versions of ourselves, you know, reflected. And it's also important for us to see ourselves in different socioeconomic stratas. You know what I'm saying? I think
Right.
really important. I feel like, you know, J and B being at Barack's, you know, inauguration was the world for a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? To see that happen. And I feel like, you know, it's important for us to see different versions of what the Black experience is. And, you know, when I did Blackish, the Black experience was different than it is now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And hopefully 5 more years from now, it will be different. I think if we look at what's happening, it'll be different than it is than it is, it'll be different now than it is then. So
Yeah.
I think it's really important to sort of just give different experiences and let people take what they will from it.
Yeah, I don't know if you read my caption, but I was like, it's ironic that we work our whole lives to achieve quote unquote success according to what quote unquote what we thought success looked like. To only realize that we have to truly define success for ourselves. And that really connected with me when I was writing it, because I'm thinking of you, right? Like, and I'm thinking of our conversation. I'm thinking about Blackish, and just like being a parent, there's no fucking rule book to this shit. I promise to God, when I started my relationship with my wife, and said I was having kids, and knew I was having kids, I was like, there's gonna be rules. There's gonna be, you're gonna have to cut the grass. You're gonna have to, and bruh, I'm lucky. And even with me, because I have a housekeeper, but I work hard as a motherfucker for that housekeeper. I have gardeners and but I work hard, and I'm not apologizing for that shit. And I don't want them to have to either. They get enough hood from their father. I
That's
talk
right.
to them like a nigga on the street
That's
because
right.
I need them to understand what it sounds like. But my point is, the dynamic is important because you don't know what you're going to do when you get to that level of success. You don't know. And I think you being transparent and telling that story is everything for culture, period.
I hope it's something. I definitely feel like I hope it's something, because ultimately we didn't get to see a lot of different versions of what we look like growing up. You know what I'm saying? And so the idea of having as many different versions of that being told, I told someone, I was like, look, I'm a really big fan of criticism. You know what I'm saying? And, I've never done anything as polarizing as this show. Like,
Yeah.
and I was actually just talking to one of your mans. I was talking to Wale, who I love, the other day. And, Wale was saying, like, the show. And I was like, I really feel like I will never probably do anything that's not polarizing in some aspects again, because I really enjoy the conversation that's gotten started.
Yeah.
And I think makes people think. And I felt the idea of being able to take and make people disagree about the same exact thing, you know what I'm saying? That's art.
Yeah.
And that's what I feel like I want. There was a scene in the series where I tell the young lady, Amon, who's amazing, who plays my daughter, Treya, I tell her, somebody's going to fuck you up one day. I mean, I don't want it to happen because I love you, but it's going to happen. And I feel like that's our job as parents. You know what I'm saying? And we see our kids talking shit to say, like,
Hey,
yo.
bro, you have to.
Right.
Well, okay, let me ask you a question. What would you do? What would be the alternative? I want you to know that you keep talking shit like that, you talk shit to the wrong motherfucker, they gonna split your shit.
That's my job. Now, I couldn't say that on network TV, and especially couldn't say it like that.
You could have
But
said it on Netflix.
I could say it, and that's what. And I was like, let me take this opportunity to actually live that out loud. And because there is a version of parents who understand that if I don't tell you that, somebody else is going to tell you that with their fist in your mouth. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, the idea of that's, a lot of people got it. A lot of people are like, people don't talk to their kids like that. I heard someone say, someone was like, you're a dick or you're a dickhead, and like, you can't. Black kids don't talk to their father like that. And so I saw a comment that said, you can talk to your father like that if you know your father. And I was like, it's interesting because we had different relationships with our parents than our kids have with us.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying? And so
And they're smarter than us.
they are.
Let's keep it a buck. They
They
have
are.
way more access to information than we do, and a lot of times them little motherfuckers is right. And
Yeah.
sometimes we as parents need to be, talked to with respect, because I will.
That's right.
I have boys. I will choke them to sleep.
You can never curse at me. You know what I'm saying? And you cannot curse if your grandmother's
Facts.
around, because I'll get a fucking, she will beat my ass.
Yeah.
But like, there's an entitlement and a privilege that comes with once in a while. I know you're cursing at school. I cursed at school. You know what I'm saying? So I don't want you to be a different version of the kid you are at school in the house. I want to know who my kids are.
Yeah.
So, you know what I'm saying? Like, the idea that I don't want my kids running around just being foul-mouthed little bastards, but the idea that they, a curse word slips out here and there, and that's a truer version of who my kids are, and I get to see that around me. For me personally, as a parent, that's what I want.
And what you learn as a parent with all the parentless motherfuckers, like I mean, all the childless people would like to just jump in the ring and you wouldn't do shit. You have no idea what it's like to be selfless, and you got 6 motherfucking kids. So I couldn't imagine how much selflessness. I mean, you know, when you have children, you realize it's not about you. No. And you realize everything you're doing is to leave a legacy, hopefully some wealth and social currency, so they can live a fruitful life and have relationships to earn more if they like. But people don't know. They fucking running their miles and ain't got no goddamn kids.
And every kid you have, every time my kids go to school, it's just one more chance for my heart to break. Because you're worried about what call is that going to be? You know what I'm saying? Who got hurt? Who got, you know, who's in trouble? Like every child, so every kid you have is like you put your heart on a sleeve, and then you have to send that kid out into the world. Yeah. So, you know, the notion of you trying to be as real with your kids as humanly possible and letting them not make the mistakes that you made because they actually believe that what you're telling them is the real truth and not just parent truth. That's all that I have. You know what I'm saying? They have to know that what I'm telling them is real truth, not parent truth.
Come on, I'm glad you said that, brother. Now, Rashida, I love her. She's a genius. You know, we need another season of this from y'all. I mean, please tell me that it's greenlit and it's on the way.
We're talking about it. You know what I'm saying? I think it's all scheduling, and it's all sort of like making sure that everything lines up, and we have things that we want to talk about. And you know, we right now we're dealing with this thing. The world is sick right now. We're trying to sort of, you know, get everyone well, and you know, and luckily this show has been phenomenally received numbers wise, and even in terms of like the critical reception.
So we're getting a second season regardless. I mean, at some point.
We would love to do it. We would love to do it. I think that it's a lot of people. Netflix has a different schedule. We would love to do it. We have this, you know, I have a company and projects and Rashida, but that's what our goal would be.
You're doing a season 2. I'm not getting off the fucking line. Instagram will cut us off.
I would love to do a season 2. I would say that. I would say that it has more to do with. I'd love to do a season 2, a season 3, a season 4. I'd love to, you know.
Well, you got so much money, you could do it anyway. So I don't think you need to wait on anybody to do anything. But
we want it to be special. I feel like we did something that made people talk. You know what I'm saying? I told you season 2, you got to come on. You know what I'm saying? We got to get. You know what I'm saying? We got to get.
I'm saying this right now. Like I'm ready to act. I'm ready to. I'm ready to.
You are.
No.
Way more than I am. Way more than I am.
No, you murdered it though. Like your demeanor, but see what people don't know, that's really you. Like your demeanor is like that. Your wisdom, I mean, your sarcasm, your timing, like that's you. So like I said, when I saw it, I was like, I could do it. Like I really felt that. I was like, oh shit, I can do it.
You absolutely should.
But I was like,
you should.
I am, and we have it on tape. But listen, brother, before we leave, I just want to tell you, man, that you know, every generation has great storytellers. A lot of people have the opportunity to put pieces together and have a vision, to be a writer of one's own art, of one's own material. I just want to tell you, man, it's awesome. It is breathtaking to see these stories being told. Not only is it necessary, but it's crucial because Black folk need to know that they can live like this too. They got to know that these opportunities are real and that they're out here. And that, you know, there's no rule book to parenting, that there is no rule book to the hustle and how you get what you came for. So I just want to give you your flowers, man, and tell you are super special and necessary, and we will hold you like the national treasure you are, my brother.
Well, thank you, dude. And God bless you. And like, you know what I'm saying, you and your family. And, you know, honestly, keep doing this. I love you doing your thing. You know, it's crazy that a friend of mine just did a podcast, and this girl from Vogue does a thing called, what are you doing? What is it that you do again? And it's always my favorite Kenny Burnsism because I honestly challenge. We should have a Who's the Biggest Hustler. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like honestly, like you have never not been on.
Thank you.
From freshman year, I'm dead serious. Like you have never seemed like you worried a day, and I know we all did. You have never thought about it.
I have, but you know, presentation is everything where we come from. Kenya, I love you, brother.
I do. Thank you.
And keep going, man. Love on that beautiful family of yours too.
Our dog. You too, man. All right, peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Kenya Barris, the living legend. That was awesome, y'all. Yo, these TKBS episodes are coming together quite nicely. I didn't even realize that yesterday was, and then, he wrote Girls Trips, so Tiffany had, it's all kind of connected. And guess what? You're the biggest piece. I appreciate y'all. See you tomorrow. Love. Peace.